Welcome my crew. Today we're going to be talking about how are you guys watching this ugly mug of a person? Time for a change. Beautiful. We're back and we look good. Welcome back to another video, everyone. Welcome back, my crew. As you can see, we are shaven, we are looking good. I know some of you will say you're uglier than before, which is probably true, but that's okay. You're still here watching it, so welcome back to another video. Today's video, we're going to be talking about, cue the fireworks, we're going to talk about brokers, okay? So we've talked about a lot of things in this channel. We've talked about how to invest your first bag, where to start on your millionaire journey, the top 5 mistakes I've made, and also, of course, a welcome to my channel video. So in this video specifically, we're going to be talking about what brokers I think you should use for the individual trader or investor you are, the brokers that I use, and just all things brokers, all things money as usual. Again, as a disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, so take my opinion with a grain of salt, do your own due diligence, and never follow me blindly. Just before we get into this video, just before we start, I want to let you guys know about something super important, super cool, and super exciting that I did, okay? So what happened is, if you go look at the Instagram below at Nathaniel Amaral _, the last post that I posted on Tuesday, so you're going to be watching this on Thursday, there's a giveaway, okay? There's something happening. So wait to the end of the video where I describe everything that is happening with it. So stay tuned to the end of the video to find out more. But now, back to your regularly... Watch the video. Just watch the video, okay? So to all my Canadian people out there, you beautiful Canadian polar bear riding, igloo living individuals. I know, Americans, we don't live in igloos, okay? I promise. We actually have houses. House, ding, 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 ding. We have stuff, so we're not, totally isolated in Canada. But we're going to start off with Canadian brokers, okay? We're going to start off with all my Canadian people that are willing to invest, the people that have been contacting me. So yes, Canadian brokers, okay? So when it comes to investing, there are many brokers that you can use. And for those of you that don't know, a broker is basically somebody that acts like a liaison between you and the market, right? Whether it be the stock market, the real estate market, whatever it is. It acts as a liaison between all of these individual markets. So me specifically as a day trader, I want a broker that works best for me. So if you watch my previous video, you had heard me say that brokers actually don't work for you. And this is true. No broker is actually out there to help you. No broker is out there to give you money. You have to find the best broker that actually works for you, okay? So if you're in Canada, some of the brokers that you can use if you're a starter, if you kind of just want to throw a little bit of money into the account, is any kind of bank, right? So TD, CIBC, BMO, RBC, all of these have a web brokerages account. So TD, for example, which I am with, they have something called the web brokerage account, right? So you can open up this web brokerage account and have access to all the things that they give you, right? All the things that they allow you to use. So when it comes to stocks, mutual funds, REITs, anything that you're able to buy and sell, you can buy and sell through that platform. With each of the brokers that we're going to go through today in this video, I'm going to give you the pros and the cons. The pros will be here, and the cons will be here. So we'll start with the pros of the banks. So I'm not going to go into specific with each bank because there are little differences between these banks, but I just feel they're not really important and they're almost negligible because any bank that you go with, they'll have a pretty similar, method of buying and selling, similar rates, just because, we're governed by the same body here in Canada. So the pros when it comes to Canadian brokerages through a bank. So the first pro is that you mainly do cash accounts, okay? And what a cash account means is that you're not on margin. So you're not borrowing money from the bank. You're actually just using your own money to purchase or sell stocks, REITs, mutual funds, whatever it is that you're going into, right? So the pro of using a cash account is that you don't have to ever worry about your money increasing or decreasing by an enormous amount, right? So for example, if you buy a Tesla share and it goes up $1, you are going to get $1 extra on top of the money that you've put in, right? So that's how a cash account works, okay? So another pro to the banks that you can use is that it's a cash account, but also you're in a very secure investment as far as regulation. So the Canadian banks are regulated by the IIROC kind of body. So they are very secure as far as investments go, okay? So the third pro that you can look at when you're investing into these banks is actually the abundance of stuff that you can buy or sell. So when you go through other brokerages, a lot of times they're pretty limited on what you can buy and sell. And when I mean limited, I don't mean like there's very little. I just means that they don't have the expansive maybe framework that a bank will have, right? So when it comes to a bank, you can virtually buy almost anything, right? You can buy, gold, silver, platinum, you can buy stocks, you can buy mutual funds, REITs. They're all there that you can buy specifically from the bank brokerages, right? That's another pro that I find to be beneficial with bank. So as mentioned, I'm with TD and I mainly only do mutual fund investing with a bank, right? And the reason I do that is because brokerages, there are brokerages that do give you mutual funds, but I just find the bank to be a little bit more of a secure investment, like I had mentioned, for mutual funds at least. And that's just my opinion. So that's what I feel comfortable with. So now let's move on to the cons of what I feel are cons of going through a bank. Fees, okay? Fees are probably the biggest con when it comes to any brokerage, okay? Because when you invest money, you want to make a profit. Nobody really wants to lose money unless you want to lose money. Then you can give it to me, I'll invest for it. But anyway, if you don't want to lose money, that means you really have to be taking consideration fees, okay? How much is a brokerage going to charge you in order to buy and sell? So what do I mean? It's basically like you're going to a store, right? And you're trying to check out your groceries, and the person that's checking it out says, well, for my service of checking out the groceries, I'm gonna charge you $5, right? And then because when you pay or when you sell your groceries, you have to give me $5 for providing you with the grocery. So that's how brokerages work. They want a fee when it comes to a buy and a sell. So if I'm trying to buy a stock, and this actually is with almost every single bank in Canada, if you want to buy a stock, they're going to charge you $10 upfront in order to buy the stock, right? And then if you want to sell on the other end, you have to also give them $10 to sell. So the one thing you have to be taken into consideration is that as a whole, your investment actually needs to go over $20 in order to be in some kind of profit. If you sell when you have $20 profit, well, you've had to pay $20 to the bank. So you're actually at break even. So if you're looking at long-term investments, this $10 fee isn't a lot really when you're looking into the grand scheme of things. But if you're looking like, for example, as a day trader, this can really cut into your profits, right? Because I'll be taking anywhere from 60 to 100 trades in a day. So if you multiply that by 10, well, that's a lot of money. That could be from 640 to almost $1,000 in a day, right? So if I'm not making more than that, realistically, I'm losing all of my money to commission, all my money to fees, which is why I've actually had to change brokers a few times for that specific reason. Okay, so con number two when it comes to banks is quarterly fees. So quarterly activity fees. Most banks will charge you about $25 or $24, depending on what bank you go with, to actually just have a brokerage account. So every quarter, so every 4 months, they're going to charge you $25 for just having the account. So if you're looking to, keep a position in a bank for 10 years, you're looking at $25 times 4, calculation, $100. Yeah, $100 in a year. So you have to almost think every investment that you put into the bank, it has to go over $100 in order for you to be profitable, on top of your commission to buy and on top of your commission to sell. Okay. Yeah, I know it's a lot of fees. So, but this is how basically the IIROC and the banks say that you are a safe investment, that they want to let you invest in the market, because they feel that you have these fees, you can cover these fees because you're a smart investor. But Nathaniel, how are we supposed to earn money through a bank with all these fees? Yeah, the problem of most traders is looking for the best broker to give them the best fees so that they can earn the best amount of money, right, for their profit, okay? So Manny's laughing back there with the fluff, man. Fluffs, they're just everywhere. I just hate them because they used to get stuck in my beard. See, all gone. Anyway, so yeah, that's the biggest thing that you have to worry about is fees when it comes to these banks, okay? And the last con that I want to talk about when it comes to banks is just the execution time when it comes to banks, okay? So if you want to try day trading with a bank, which I highly recommend you don't because the fees are going to kill you, okay? The execution times are relatively slow. You put an order in and they'll fill you at maybe a price that is not the best that you want. So for example, if you're trying to buy Tesla at $100 and you put in an order, the bank may fill it a couple dollars above or a couple dollars below what you actually want it to. This may not seem like a big deal, especially if you're trying to, hold for a very long period of time. But when it comes to day trading like me, where I basically am trading with tens of thousands of shares at a time, a 20-cent slip is huge. I basically will only tolerate a 2-cent slip. So basically, I will only tolerate a price lower or higher than 2 cents. If I don't get that fill, I'm out of the trade. I'm not even looking further, right? So these are the pros, again, to list it, and these are the cons, again, listing it, that I think you should be aware of when looking at a bank. So now let's move away from banks and let's start talking about the brokerages that you're able to use here in Canada. Let's play the old Canada theme song. Canada sucks when it comes to brokerages. I'll be completely honest. You know, I love Canada. It's awesome here. The maple syrup tastes amazing. The polar bears are awesome to ride. Igloos are kind of cold, but they're pretty good. But when it comes to brokerages, Canada sucks, okay? The regulatory body in Canada is so strict, which is good because they don't want you to lose money. But it really gets tough in order for you to be a day trader, for you to be a swing trader, because there's so much regulation in Canada when it comes to you investing your money that it really starts to hurt you a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna move away. I'm gonna start talking about the brokerages that we have in Canada. There are a few more, but these are the ones that I think you should maybe be using. Again, this is just my opinion. You should be using depending on the type of trader you are, okay? So, broker numero uno, okay? Broker number one that I think you should use is Wealthsimple. Imagination. Okay, I'm sure you heard of Wealthsimple. You probably heard their ads on the radio. They have like a funky little jingle like crypto. Wealthsimple, in my opinion, is really good for people that want to make monthly contributions to the stock market, I think they have mutual funds. Yeah, mutual fund. Things that you can put your money into. Now with Wealthsimple, you can invest in crypto. You can actually have them automatically invest for you, or you can do a cash account, okay? So here are the pros that I have for Wealthsimple. Pro number one is that it's a cash account. Pro number two is that there are no monthly activation or quarterly activation fees. And pro number three is that they have a very simple interface that you can use, okay? So what does it mean by a cash account? It's similar to a bank where you're actually not borrowing money. You're actually just using the money that you have. So for example, if you're putting $500, you only have $500 of buying power. So if a stock is $100, you can buy 5 shares of that stock, right? So what this means is that you're actually not borrowing money from the brokerage in order to buy more, okay? So that's the cash account. There are no commissions. This is what I think Wealthsimple has going for them that really, brings a lot of volume and a lot of people to them, is that there's no commission. So when you buy, you don't get charged. When you sell, you don't charge. You get to keep all the profit. The reason for that is because you're using your own money. You're using a cash account. And then you're going to ask me, of course, I'm going to probably see it in the comments or my DMs, but Nathaniel, how come the banks charge you $10 and this, brokerage doesn't? Because the banks can, right? Remember, these are institutions, these are companies. They're not out there to help you. So they can do and twist the rules whichever way they feel necessary. So Wealthsimple charges no commission. And the reason they charge no commission is because they want more and more people to come to them and start investing more money and putting more money into their brokerage account. And that's ultimately how they make their money, okay? So that's number one. So with Wealthsimple, as I said, like I had mentioned in the bank, is that every quarter you get charged about $24 to $25 just to upkeep your account. With Wealthsimple, you don't have that issue. So you're not really getting carved in to your accounts, right? So you're not getting, these small carvings every quarter into your profit, okay? And believe it or not, the pros are actually, the pros are also the cons, okay? So because there is a cash account, because there's no commission, and because there's no activity fee, you basically only can use the money that you put in, which is the biggest con for Wealthsimple, okay? Besides that, I think Wealthsimple is a pretty good overall broker to use. What type of individuals do I think should be using Wealthsimple? People that want to invest in the TSX, so the Canadian or Toronto Stock Exchange, and people that want to make monthly contributions. I do not think swing traders, I do not think day traders should be using Wealthsimple, okay? The reason I don't think swing traders and day traders should be using Wealthsimple is because when you're swing trading and when you're day trading, you are taking on more risk. But with more risk comes on more rewards. So you want to be, even though there will be fees, I do think you want to use a broker that will give you margin, that will allow you to basically borrow money and use more buying power. Now, this does come with a lot of risk because the more money and the more buying power you have, even though you don't have your money used, is, you know, the price of what the profit you can get, it could be a lot higher, but also could be a lot lower. So you really have to take that into consideration with margin. Again, we'll talk about margin in a bit. So stay tuned for when we talk about margin and the potential risks that I see with margin. So again, just to kind of wrap up with Wealthsimple, if you're a person that wants to kind of put a monthly contribution into Wealthsimple, I do think it is a perfect broker for you with the zero commission fees, the no activity fee, and kind of you can just add monthly contributions without an issue, okay? So that's what I think about Wealthsimple, okay? The second broker that in Canada that is very popular that I think you should be using, again, depending on the trading style you are and the investor you are, is Questrade, okay? So what is Questrade? Again, it's just a broker that we have in Canada. So we'll go through a few things like we did in Wealthsimple that I think are the pros and the cons of Questrade, okay? So one of the pros of Questrade is that it has lower commission fees than a bank. It will charge you about $4.95 to buy and to sell. So there is a commission fee to buy and sell. They do have margin accounts, which is really interesting and really cool. So they have basically, you're able to borrow money from that broker in order to have more buying power. So let's say you put in $1,000, you're able to borrow $4,000. So you have a total of $5,000 that you can trade with. So you have to put in less money in order to buy more shares of a company or more shares of whatever, okay? There is risk, and I want to, you know, stress this, red eyes, okay? There is a risk when it comes to margin trading because the more money you're using to buy, the more shares you can buy. That means the more you'll be able to gain, but the more you'll be able to lose, okay? You won't be able to get, you basically have to have a ton of risk management and a ton of psychology checks here when it comes to margin trading, okay? And I'll get into the broker that I use and, you know, because it is margin trading what I use for day trading. And we'll talk about how I mitigate all this stuff, or you can check out my other videos. Ding, 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 ding. So when it comes to Questrade, I think a lot of these brokers, and this is just might just be my opinion, I think a lot of these brokers do have cons that are pros. So the commission fees tend to be lower than the banks, which is also a pro. Okay, so pro, lower commission than a bank. They do have a quarterly fee, which is actually the same as a bank, so that's kind of like equal of suckiness. They're both $25. But they actually do have something that Wealthsimple does not have, which is actually research and a trading platform. So I think their trading platform is called Qtrade. I personally have never used Qtrade. I also personally never used Questrade. But from what I've heard, people have had really good experience with it, right? So they do have an interface where you can actually use graphing software that they have. You can use the trading software that they have. So basically, when you open up a brokerage account with Questrade, you have access to all of these software that you don't have to go to a third party to pay for. So that's a huge pro when it comes to Questrade. So this is one of the pros that I see with Questrade is that they do have their own charting software and their own trading software, okay? Now, the other downside is, okay, before we get to that downside actually, who are the types of people that I think should use Questrade? Swing traders and day traders, okay? If you're a long-term investor, that quarterly fee and that $4.95 commission that they're gonna charge to buy and sell will start to eat at your profit, which is why I think if you're looking for a long-term investment, Wealthsimple is probably the best bet for you, okay? So why do I think swing traders and why do I think day traders should use this? Well, because Questrade does have their own charting software and old trading system, but also their commissions are relatively cheap, okay? So it's $4.95. I do think swing traders should use this a lot more than day traders because day traders will take a lot more trades than swing traders. So for example, right now on my $1,000 account challenge, just because I'm super busy, I am doing a bit of swing trading, okay? So I'll take maybe 1 to 2 trades a day, okay? My profits will be really high because I am trading with a lot of money. But again, I'm only taking 1 to 2 trades a day. And this basically is able to cover my commission, cover my quarterly fee, and also it's for me to make a profit at the end of the day, okay? The downside of Questrade and the downside of any brokerage is that you have to pay for data, okay? And it's not like no cellular data where you have to pay to get internet. No. Basically, a data fee is the amount of money that you have to pay in order to get the information from the market, right? Because if you're using charting software, the bars go up and down, right? And you have the price, which will shift up and down, up and down, up and down. And basically, in order to get that data of where the price is at any given time during the day, you're gonna have to pay for it. In my opinion, Questrade does have a little bit of expensive. They're a little bit expensive, but the good thing about Questrade is that if you actually spend X amount of dollars in commission per month, they actually waive that data fee, right? And it's because, remember about this $4.95 commission fee that I was talking about? Well, that's money in their pocket, okay? So if they start to accumulate that and that covers the data fee, they'll basically say you don't have to pay for the data fee per month. If you are making that much commission per month, it may be eating too much into your profit, especially if you're a beginner day trader, swing trader, because you don't really have a good strategy. Maybe your risk management is not perfect. So those fees will really start to eat into your profit, right? So that's why I think day traders with large position sizes should be using Questrade. Okay, so just to track back, we've talked about banks, we've talked about Wealthsimple, and we talked about Questrade and who I think should be trading in that. And the last one that I want to talk about today is the broker that I specifically use. Okay, so I've got a lot of people asking me, what broker do you use? Why do you use it? Whatever, yada yada yada. Woo, here's all the information right now. Okay, I personally use a broker called Interactive Brokers. Okay, they're actually an offshore broker, but they are regulated by the IROC body in Canada. So Canada does recognize this broker as a legal broker to use for Canadian traders. Okay, so why do I use Interactive Brokers? They have an extremely low commission fee. So their fee is about 1 cent per share. Okay, if you're trading over a certain amount of volume. So if you're trading over 1,000 shares, you only get charged 1 cent per share. Okay, this doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're trading like I am, where I trade about tens of thousands of shares in a day, your commission charges could rack up anywhere from $15 to $2,000 in the day. Okay, now this is a very aggressive day. This is when I'm aggressively trading. My commissions start to move up really quickly, which is why risk management really starts to play a part in all of this. Okay, so why do I think you should use Interactive Brokers? But again, before I go there, who should use Interactive Brokers? The only people that I think should use Interactive Brokers are aggressive swing traders and day traders. That's it. In Canada, as I mentioned, we suck for brokers. So Interactive Brokers tends to be the best broker for day traders when it comes to Canadian brokers. There are a few other ones, which I'm not going to get to in this video because I just personally don't like them. I don't think they're good. But I do think that as far as swing traders, aggressive swing traders and day traders, Interactive Brokers is the best. They do have relatively low commission fees, which is a pro. Their data charges are lower than Questrade, which I like, and they actually waive their commission charges if you go over $10 if you have lower than $2,500 in your account. Okay, so what does all of that mean? They put a cap of 2,500 USD. If you have below that amount in your account, it's a cash account. They automatically say you're trading with cash, okay? And they basically do not charge you commission if you go over $10 in commission charges, right? So when you have under 2,500, they charge you $1 for a buy and $1 for a sell. So if you do that 10 times, automatically your commission gets removed, right? So whatever profit you keep, which is why I think Interactive Brokers is really good for people that have small accounts too, okay? As soon as you go over 2,500 USD, they actually give you a margin account, and you have to maintain that 2,500 USD in order to use the margin account. And now you start getting charged 1 cent per share because they're expecting you to trade at a higher volume, right? For day traders. So this is the pros that I see with Interactive Brokers. So the cons that I see with Interactive Broker, they're pretty good. I mean, I've been pretty happy with the service. I've been pretty happy with the execution. Their fills are really quick. The only problem that I see is that their data sucks. Their data and their trader workstation is what they call it, which is kind of like Questrade, where they have their own graphing and trading software. It's extremely complex to use. Personally, I just don't use it. And I just find the fills to be a little bit slow when it comes to using the trader workstation. So when you use their software, I find that to be very slow, right? But if you use their their browser account, it seems to be pretty good. I mean, I use that for my swing trading, which is really good. So I have no issues with that. But yeah, the data is extremely slow. So the only thing that I would say with Interactive Brokers, which is a con, is that you would actually have to outsource your data fee and actually trading in order to be, for example, a successful day trader. So personally, I don't use Trader Workstation. I use a third-party data stream provider. You can DM me. The Instagram will be below. You can DM me and ask me which one I do, because I don't want to really put it here because I'm not sponsored by them, so I'm not really promoting them. But it's fine. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the service that I use. I'm pretty happy with the service from them. So yeah, if you want to know what I use, just DM me below, okay? The one thing that we really have to talk about when it comes to Canadian brokerages, so again, I mentioned Canadian banks, Wealthsimple, Questrade, and Interactive Brokers, and who I think should be using it, the pros and cons that I think of each of these brokerages, okay? What I think you need to be worried about is that any broker that you use, and actually let's backtrack. These brokers are mainly good for stock traders and people that want to invest in the stock market, okay? If you want to invest in something like Forex or commodities, there are a few other brokers that I think you could be using, that I personally used when I was trading Forex. And you can, again, message me below. We'll make a whole video about Forex coming soon. But anyway, these are the brokers that I think you are the best brokers to use for stock accounts, right? For stock brokerages. The one thing that you have to take into consideration when looking at any brokerage, at any broker that you find, you Google best brokers to use, is make sure that they are regulated by some sort of regulatory body, okay? I've seen this time and time again where people use unregulated brokers, and what that means is that there is no governing body that holds them accountable for giving you your money back for your profit, right? So I've seen guys that has put, $1,000, $2,000 into accounts of unregulated brokers, made 5, 10 grand, and basically the broker said, no, we're not gonna give it back to you, and legally there's nothing you can do because they're not regulated brokers. They're basically just like me, like a bum in a garage saying, yeah, we'll give you service, and then just not give you your money back, right? So I would just warn you, be careful, make sure that they are regulated if you can by the IIROC, which is the Canadian body. They will protect you a lot from a lot of fraudulent activity and just your capital when you put in money. The other thing you have to take into consideration as a Canadian investor is it's called the PDT rule in the States, which basically says that you need a certain amount of money in your account in order to start trading. With the brokers that I mentioned, you can actually start trading for as low as $1 in the account. I think, yeah, so Wealthsimple, you can just put in $1. I think Questrade, you have to put in $200, which is still a small amount. And interactive brokers, like I said, you can put in any amount, but you only start using margin over $2,500 in the account, right? That's the only other thing you have to take into consideration is looking at how much money you need to start investing in order to use the brokerage, right? So the ones that I had mentioned, you can actually use, so banks, Wealthsimple, Wealthsimple, and interactive brokers, you can use $0 or $1 and you can start investing with that. But Questrade, you do need to put in $200 in order to use their account, right? So we'll fast forward now, okay? So that's for my Canadian polar bear riding Mounties. I love you all, okay? So I of course started with Canadians because proud Canadian. We'll do for the States because I know some of my audience is from the States or from the US. Again, if you're a Canadian watching this, sadly, you cannot use any of the American brokerages. You can actually use one of them that I'm going to mention, but again, it's because they are an offshore broker that just a lot of day traders use. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about, the commissions because they are a little bit different than here. But for example, if you are a swing trader or an intraday trader, Webull and TD Ameritrade are probably the best two brokerages you can use in the States. Another one you can use, which is like basically the comparison I feel is like Wealthsimple, is Robinhood. Robinhood has been getting under so much fire because of the whole GME thing that they did. They basically stopped traders from trading. There was a lot of issues with them. They basically are funded by a lot of hedge funds, and it's a whole issue. So I mean, steer away from Robinhood if you can, because I just think that they're not a good broker. They're not reliable. I just don't think anybody should be trading through them. So if you're in the States and you're watching this, Webull and TD Ameritrade are probably the best two. I think TD Ameritrade over Webull as kind of an overall body with data stream providing, with graphing and trading software is probably the best. But again, those are the best two. If you are in the States or even in Canada, because this can happen, for day trading, it's called Lightspeed, okay? Again, I'm not affiliated with any of these brokers that I'm talking about, so I have no code that you can use to get a discount. I'm not affiliated with any of these. But Lightspeed is basically like interactive brokers, but as the name suggests, they have a much faster execution and they are very good for day traders. They have really good charting software. They're just overall probably a very good broker to use when it comes to day traders. The only issue with Lightspeed is that they do follow the PDT rule in the States, which means you have to have over $25,000 in your account to even start trading, right? So if you don't have that amount, you actually can't open an account with them and you can't start trading, okay? Who do I think should use Lightspeed? Day traders that have a lot of money, a lot of capital that they've accumulated. But again, if you're a starter, if you're watching these videos and you just kind of want to dip your toes in day trading, interactive brokers are probably the best place for you as a Canadian brokerage. Thank you for tuning into another video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I was just throwing something to Manny, that's why I'm laughing. But anyway, thank you for tuning into another video. I love seeing you guys commenting. I love seeing you subscribing. And if you're watching this video, it's going to be dropped on Tuesday, April something 20th. I'd have to check with my calendar. Manny, he told me. Episode 5, you're right.
Tuesday the 20th.
22nd, okay. Mistake, 22nd. This video is going to drop April 22nd, the Thursday. So if you made it to the end of the video, here's a surprise for you. Go check out my Instagram below. Go check out Manny's Instagram below, or sorry, Drippy Seth's Instagram below. Man, you look like a beach god. Can you just pop for the camera? You gotta pop. Oh, he looks so good. He looks, oh my god, supreme. Okay, he looks, took out his bunny, or sorry, his ponytail. He looks so good. Anyway, so go follow the Instagrams below and look at my last post at Nathaniel Amaral _. Look at the last post. There is a giveaway. So if you are interested, follow the instructions below. If you're watching this video, please follow that instructions below. I'm going to give away my profits of the day, my day trading profits. So if you want to be a part of that, if you want to get involved, I'm going to live stream it. You're going to be able to see everything. I'm going to pick a random winner. So if you want to be part of it, go do all those instructions below and keep commenting, subscribing. I'd love to see the support, guys. Let's get this channel to 100,000, to 1 million, and then to 4 billion people. Why not? I'm here for you guys. I'm trying to start the movement of people wanting to invest, making their money work for them. And guess what? Even if the market crashes, that is the best time to invest. We'll make a whole video about it. But anyway, catch you all at the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.